So we're talking about money, and I'm going to wrap up this little mini series with this, and we're going to talk about the evolution of money and the evolution of you and the evolution of your relationship to money, at least with regards to your business. So I mentioned last week about this, like when I started out and I spent nothing on my business, almost nothing. I went and got a mailbox that I rented a mailbox, and that was it. And I did everything myself. I hired no one. In fact, I didn't hire anyone for years. Figured everything out on my own, did everything, found free services for as long as I could, and built a pretty nice little business like that. And then things have changed over the years. Now I've got this great big team. We've got a team of over 30 people. We've got a lot of costs. We've got we've got fancy branding. We've got a fancy camera, many fancy cameras, all kinds of fancy tech. Spend a lot of money on our websites, on our technology, on everything. It's crazy how much money we spend. And so there's an evolution that you go through. And I'll tell you, here's one, is like you go from flying coach, and maybe a flight would cost you $300, to at some point, maybe you make that decision to start flying first class. Because if coach is $300 and first class is $1,200, how could it possibly be worth it to spend an extra $900 to get on the same plane to go to the same place? Well, at some point, as your success grows, the value of your time grows. And if all of a sudden you're doing work that's worth $1,000 an hour, or $3,000 or $10,000 an hour, and it will happen if you continue to evolve your skills, this actually will happen. But let's just say it's $1,000 an hour, that your time is now worth $1,000, that people would actually pay you $1,000 an hour, or the work that you do to create something pays you back the equivalent of $1,000 an hour. Now all of a sudden, if you get on that flight and it's a 3-hour flight, and now since you're in first class, you can be on your computer and you can be productive versus being cramped in coach and not being able to work on your machine. And now you're going to arrive at your destination so much more refreshed because of that first class experience. Well, now that you got like 3 hours of productivity plus the extra productivity when you land, now is it worth an extra $900 for that ticket? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. So that's the kind of thinking that you're gradually going to be, and you'll do this in all areas. It's like, does it pay for me to edit this video? I've built up the skills. I can edit a video, but does it pay for me? Well, when you're starting out, yes, it's way better for you to do that video versus go and spending a lot of money on a video editor. But at some point, it makes more sense to pay someone to do that. I mean, flipping back to that flight. Okay, so let's say it was the difference between, what did I say, $300 and $1,200. Now, what if you could take a private jet and spend $10,000 on that same flight? That can't possibly make sense, right? But what if that private jet actually saves you an entire day of travel because of the way the connections worked? And this kind of thing happens for me because I live out in a little town and I have to always take a few hops, a few connections. And I've had situations where taking a private flight actually meant I could stay at a conference for an entire extra day. And so if I can stay at a conference and maybe make one connection, that now with the leverage my business has, one significant connection with the right person could be worth tens of thousands, or in the long run, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now all of a sudden, does a $10,000 private flight make sense? It absolutely can. So what I'm getting at is, over time, your relationship, as the business grows, as your success grows, your relationship with money is going to change. It's not going to change who you are, but your relationship with money and the way you need to think about money and the leverage that money can create becomes a really important thing. So there is a time to be very, very, very frugal, to really watch the pennies, especially watch any fixed costs that you add to your business. And then there's a time where it absolutely makes sense to invest in things that raise your professionalism or increase the efficiency of your time, increase your productivity. It's a very interesting evolution to go through. And I can remember when, I was scrimping by for every penny, and things are different now. It's been an amazing journey, and it's one that becomes more important as you become more successful. So just wrapping up this money series, I know I've mostly talked in concepts because these are short videos and I don't have a lot of time. But if you are interested in me going deeper on some of these, no promises. I'm not thinking about doing a course. This isn't a shot across the bow or anything like that. But I might decide to do some more longer in-depth videos about these type of things and give you real examples and walk through exactly how it works. If you're interested in that, scroll down, let me know. Or if you're just like, Jeff, I've had enough of this money stuff, go leave it behind, go to something else, that's fine too. But if you want to hear more in depth about money and about how it works in your business and how you need to think about it, then let me know. And let me know what I should cover and what you're interested in. Otherwise, that's it. Scroll down, leave a comment for me, and let's go get them this week.